Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Penny. I am a master esthetician in Portland, Oregon, and I am also a microneedling specialist. If you are starting out on microneedling, or if you need a little bit of guidance with microneedling, definitely visit my microneedling playlist. I have videos on protocols, the differences between microneedling types, so be sure to visit and watch that for lots and lots more information. Also, as always, feel free to ask any questions in the comment section and I will be happy to help you. Today, though, we're just going to do an overview of the new Drpen M8. This is the most recent launch from the Drpen line, and I picked it up, paid for it with my own money. I'm super excited to kind of give you guys an overview. I have three other Drpens. I do have the A7, the A6, and the X5. And what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to do a little bit of comparing so that if you are in the market for a pen, then you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a comparison. All of these pens have positives. They all have, benefits for different reasons. So we're going to go through that today as well. So let's get started with this pen in particular. Again, this is the Drpen M8. It is a cordless version. And with this pen, you plug the entire unit right into the wall. So some of them have batteries, some of them the entire unit charges. This is one of them that the entire unit charges. So once you plug it in, you charge it for a certain amount of time, then you use it cordless, and this pen gets about 4 hours on one charge. This is a digital display, and this particular pen has six speed settings. And then you press and hold and it turns off. It has an aluminum alloy body. It's pretty weighty. It actually feels really, really nice. It's not too light and it's not too heavy for extended use. Now, this one, like all of the pens that I'm going to show you today, starts at 0.25 millimeters, which would be for cosmetic needling. So that's for product penetration. And it goes all the way up to 2.5, which would be for scar revision and for stretch mark work. And in between that 0.25 and that 2.5, you're going to, of course, have your 0.5, 0.75, 1, 1.25, etc. for collagen induction therapy. Now, this pen does have, obviously, interchangeable cartridges, and you can choose from several different types of cartridges. A notable difference between this one and previous models is that it does have 3 notches here and then a corresponding 3 notches on the cartridge. So when you put this on, it's very, very secure with those 3 notches. Just for reference, the A6 has 2 notches, and there were some complaints about the cartridge popping off while people were needling with the A6. I've never had that happen, but I'm pretty sure that's probably why they upgraded this M8 and gave it a 3rd notch, so it's very, very secure in there. Now, probably what drew me to this pen most is this particular cartridge. This is a 16-pin cartridge, but more than that, it has a finer needle. So it is a surgical stainless steel and titanium needle. And the 16-pin is intriguing to me because it is, of course, 4 pins more than my norm. I usually gravitate towards the 12-pin. I find that there's plenty of control there and you also get perfect needle penetration. But 16 pins was intriguing to me, and certainly with that finer needle option. Definitely liking that for this pen. Now, the RPMs on this pen are 8,000 to 14,000, and it was $199. I paid for it with my own money, and it came with 2 of these cartridges. So definitely on the higher end of Drpen. So we're going to go through that with all of these other pens as well. So that is the Drpen M8. Next, we're going to move on to the Drpen X5. So this is also a cordless model. Very similar, honestly, to the M8 in that it is cordless. You plug the entire device into the wall. There is no detachable battery. This one also has a digital display, and this one goes up to 5 speeds. So it has 5 speed setting. Now you press and hold and turn that one off. Again, this has the rotary dial that will dial up your needle depth from 0.25 to 2.5, so that is the same. Then this one actually has a threading, so you thread the cartridges in here. Something to note with all of these pens is none of them have interchangeable cartridges. So whatever pen you do buy, you have to buy the corresponding cartridges. They are not interchangeable between these pens. That would be really nice, honestly. Okay, so this pen is up to a 16,000 RPM. This one runs around $140, $150, and usually you do get several cartridges with this pen. Just depends on the kit that you pick out. So this one is certainly more affordable than the M8, and you do get more cartridges. Now, at least at the time of this video. Now, this one also, it is notable that the cartridges are easy to find. There is no problem finding cartridges, and you can get them in nano, you can get them in 12, in 24, 36, you can get all of the different cartridges for the X5. As far as the M8 is concerned, there are many cartridges that you can pick up. They're a little bit harder to get, and they may take a little bit longer to get to you. Now, what I've noticed across the board with all of these pens is when they launch, initially the cartridges are hard to get, and then within a very short amount of time, they're very easy to get. So I imagine that that's exactly how this is going to go with this M8. But as of right now, I did put in an order for 30 pieces of the 16 pin finer gauge, and I have to wait like 2 weeks for it to show up. So that's definitely something to take into consideration if this is a pen that you want to test out, that, you know, as of right now, you have to plan ahead for your cartridge repurchase. They're not like on Prime or anything like that. You have to plan ahead. So that's where the M8 stands. Now, my third cordless option, and I've talked about this one ad nauseum because it is a workhorse and it is a fantastic entry level microneedling pen as far as I'm concerned. And that is the cordless A6. This was my first microneedling pen that I owned. I have gifted this pen to people. I really like this pen a lot. It is rechargeable. It has 2 batteries that come in the pack. You charge up the battery, you attach them, and then off you go with this pen. Again, this one has the rotary dial so that you can choose your needle depth. This one is a little bit different. It is not a digital display. You press and hold, and the way that you determine the speed setting is by, or the way that you can see it, is by the light flashing. It flashes slower. When you toggle up, it starts to flash faster and faster, and you can not only see the light flashing faster, but you can obviously hear the speed increasing, and up to 5 speed increases, and then it goes back down to 1. Press and hold, and the device is off. Now, this one, like we talked about, has the 2 notches here. I've never had trouble with one of these cartridges popping off, but I've had some of you comment on that, and then I have read those reviews, you know, sporadically. So I definitely think that that is worth taking into consideration. Something that I really like about this particular pen is that when you order the initial kit, you get lots and lots of cartridges, and the cartridges are readily available. They are affordable and they are readily available. And I do think that that is significant for a lot of people that want to jump into microneedling, and they want to do nano, they want to do cosmetic needling, and they want to do their collagen induction therapy. This pen is across the board the easiest to get and the easiest to replenish. So I feel like this one is definitely still, even though all these other pens keep coming out, this one is a fantastic option for all of those reasons. This one does not have the finer needle gauge yet, but we'll see if Dr. Pen changes that, because I definitely prefer those finer needles for sure. Speaking of that, the X5 also does not have the finer needle gauges yet either. So those 2, no fine needles. Now the last one that we're going to talk about is the A7. This one is different because this one is a corded option. So you have to plug this one into the wall in order for it to work. This one is also different because not only is it not a digital display, but it's a rotary for both the needle depth and for the speed. So you rotate it here to adjust your speed, and you rotate it here to adjust your needle depth. So it's definitely manual in both ways there. Some people may prefer that. Here is just your on-off button. It's as simple as that. What sets this one apart are two things. Number one, because it's corded, it is 18,000 RPM, the strongest of all of these with likely the most consistent power. So there is that. You cannot use this cordless. This is not a cordless pen at all. You have to be tethered to the wall. So that is also a negative. You can look at that both as a pro and a con. Now the cartridges, this is also something that is a plus for this pen. There is the option for a 34 gauge needle. Now that's a fine needle cartridge. So again, like the M8, there is an option for a finer needle gauge. So the needle gauge is how thick, how big the needle actually is, how thick it is. So you have the option with the cartridges with the A7 of your 12 and your 24 and your 36 and all of that kind of stuff. But you also have the option to choose the cartridge that is the 34 gauge, which is the finer needles. Now, why would you want a finer gauge needle? For me, there are a couple of pluses for finer gauge needles. Number one, there's likely to be less pain because the needles are more fine. Number two, the entire purpose of especially collagen induction therapy is to kind of trick our body into thinking it's been wounded so that we set off this wound healing process, which results in collagen induction. So the idea is to fake the body out, not to really injure the body. So you want to do the least amount of actual injury to get the collagen induction process going. So with the finer needles, you're able to do these finer channels that still kind of induce collagen, but the body is able to literally heal them easier because they're less of an injury. So for me, the finer needles are definitely attractive. But that said, these two that don't have finer needles are still fantastic pens. They're still very fine needles. I mean, it is definitely splitting hairs really between the gauges of these pens and the gauges of the finer pens. So, you know, just kind of take that into account. So what you have here is you have some choices. This one is a great entry level that has lots of options, readily available and budget friendly. The X5 is a fantastic pen, very, very powerful, cordless digital display, and it is the threaded in cartridge, so you have security. So, and then the price range on this one is not too high. It's actually just barely above that A6. Then the next two, the reason why these are attractive to me is those finer gauge needles. And the one that I'm clearly going to be smitten with, probably because it's brand new, is this M8. I love the fact that it's cordless and I have that 16 pin fine gauge needle option. I haven't found the actual gauge yet. I can't find that information. I've got an email in and I'm going to put it in the description box as soon as I know the actual gauge of that 16 pin cartridge. But I'm going to go with Dr. Pen's word and that it is actually a finer gauge needle. And I just really like the construction of this pen. I like the digital display and I do really like the weight and the feel of this pen. So all of these pens have their pros. It just depends on what you're looking for, what your budget is, etc. So I hope that this was helpful breakdown of the pens that I own. Let me know in the comment section if you own one of these pens. I would love it if you own one of these pens and you have a review of them, positive or negative. If you could put that in the comment section. I think that everybody could use, you know, reviews that are straight up and honest. So that's going to be the best coming from you if you own one of these pens. Then we can all help each other to always make the best buying decisions. If you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, obviously leave them below. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Be sure to visit the rest of the microneedling playlist for lots and lots more information. And I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.